Hello, parents, counselors, teachers. Are you looking for some social stories, or better yet, social story coloring books that are for students working on different kinds of social skills or emotional regulation, different kinds of skills that typically younger children are still working on? My name is Susie, and I'm the owner of Counseling Fanny Pack of Fun. It's a digital product store on Teacher Pay Teacher. Everything is downloadable, printable. I'm going to share with you today all the different social stories that you can use that are available from my store. So I've made the social stories in my store coloring books. This way, the students can both make it their own and have a counseling activity to do while learning the social skill that's taught in the social story. So I have a variety of social stories from different topics. Some of them are bundled together because I feel like they go together pretty well for certain types of students, but all of them also can be bought separately and individualized. If you're wondering what the purpose of using a social story is for, it's pretty much a very targeted story where the child can learn about a certain skill that maybe they're struggling with. Either it's a coping skill, emotional skill. Uh, there's topics like sharing, taking turns that the student is working on that are very specific to that child. And it's a story that explains, why it's important and how to do it. In the coloring books, the student can put their name in and then they put their teacher's name in, so it can be very personalized to their book and their experience. One of the secrets on how to make social stories work for a child is not just to read it one time. When I use my social stories with students in their counseling session, I always send it back for either their teacher or parent, depending on what the topic or issue is. And I ask them to read it with the child at least once per day, usually in the morning. So, for example, for this, playing safely at school social story, I will read it with the student, I'll talk about it, I'll let them color it, personalize it, and then when they take it back to the classroom, I ask the teacher to read it to them at least right before going to recess. So it kind of just refreshes in their memory what they should do in that certain situation where they're starting to be angry, maybe someone took their ball, maybe, nobody wants to play with them, and then that leads to behavior. So the social story teaches them the skills and then refreshes the skills by having somebody go over it with them regularly. So most stories are just, like less than 14 pages, and they have one sentence on them with a little picture. And it's also a nice activity to do. So if they don't finish it in counseling, if they need a calm break, coloring a page from their little book is a perfect calming activity to do to kind of redirect their attention if they're escalating or having difficulty. So let's go over some of the different varieties of social story coloring books that I have in my store that might be a help to you. The first is kindness. So in this story, the student is going to learn about what it looks like to be kind and why they might want to show kind behaviors. There's also a story called Going to School, and it has a friend story that is also about separation anxiety. The Going to School one, however, is more for those students that are having escalating of behaviors and even aggression because they're having trouble separating from parent. And then the separation anxiety is more for the child that has the separation anxiety but is more like crying and in the corner, more, like withdrawn. There's also the story called Listening to My Teacher. That's a very popular one. Expected versus unexpected behaviors. So a real focus on like what are expected behaviors in school and what might be unexpected behaviors, and why do we want to have expected behaviors? What are the benefits? There's a social story called Sharing and Taking Turns. So in this one, students are going to learn about how to share and also why it's important, all about making friends, right? These social stories are very focused on social skills, right? And kind of specific, individualize those different skills. There's a story on sportsmanship, which, is very important in school for outside play as well as inside play. Sometimes kids are poor losers, sometimes they're poor winners. We want them to learn the skills for showing good sportsmanship, and so everyone wants to play with them for future games, right? Next, I kind of mentioned this already, the social story called Calming My Body and Playing Safely at School. So that's for those students that are a little bit too aggressive, maybe swinging their lunchbox and hitting people, throwing balls at others, not sharing the ball, things like that. This book will help them. Next, there's a story that's focused on doing your schoolwork called Doing My Schoolwork. Some students are struggling with not wanting to do their work. Like they're fine, following directions when it's a fun activity, but when it comes to like pencil paper, they're not wanting to do their schoolwork. Probably because it's hard for them, or it's challenging in some way, or it just doesn't feel as fun as some other activities. But either way, we want them to learn why school is important and that they should be doing their schoolwork to the best of their abilities. Next is a very popular one with students with ADHD, and it's called Learning to Give Others Personal Space. This one has a lot of hand-drawn drawings. I really couldn't find some pictures to put in there, so I drew a lot of them myself, but they're all about, no hands. We don't want to shout in others' ears. We don't want to put our hands on others. We don't want to stand too close to them in line. Things like that to teach the specific skills on personal space. And finally, there's one on controlling my big emotions. So in this one, it teaches the students what some different emotions are, and then it talks about why we want to manage our emotions, calm down if we're too excited, relax, take a break if we're feeling angry, and a few different strategies for controlling our big emotions. If one or more of these social story coloring books looks like something that could help you as a teacher or counselor, or even help your child if you're a parent, just look for them on the links below. If you don't quite see easily what you're looking for, just type it into Teacher Pay Teacher under Counseling Fanny Pack of Fun, and my store will come up and it'll give you all the different options. Some are bundled, some are individual. If you live in the Orange County area and you're a parent looking for some help with a child with autism spectrum disorder or ADHD, I am a licensed educational psychologist in the Fountain Valley area, and I'm happy to provide some consultation on behaviors. If you need a private assessment, I'm available for that too. My name is Suzanne Sweezy, and I work for Therapy Lab in Fountain Valley. Thanks for watching.